I thought y'all knew. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We would like to welcome you. We want you to sit back and relax your mind while we express the way we feel this evening. We hope that our musical vibrations leave an everlasting experience with you. If you leave this evening, go out and spread the
Let's talk. Oh yeah, we look good on Facebook. Let's talk. Welcome, welcome. We got a very special guest today. Like I said, she's in the house. Miss Erane, Washington. Say hi to everybody.
What's up, everybody? Hello.
All right. So, you know, we got to get this intro in and let everybody know what we're doing. Let our guests sign in. It's kind of weird doing this on Facebook and YouTube at the same time. I think it's going to be fun, y'all. Yeah, let's talk. Let's talk. I'm getting new to this, get used to this new format, y'all. I'm loving it. It feels good. I hope we look good. We look good on Facebook. I believe we look good on YouTube as well. Oh, yeah, your hair looks good. Yes. All right, y'all. Y'all, without further ado, come on, y'all. Let's talk. Let's talk. This is Tyrone Bridges, what I thought you knew. I am the host of the show tonight. We are simultaneously broadcasting through Facebook, social media, through also YouTube. And we have the great, the beautiful Miss Erane Washington. She's the candidate for the 2020 Washtenaw County 14B District Court. Welcome to our show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, without further ado, let us hear a little bit about yourself so we can warm up, since we got a few viewers.
Well, I guess I want to know what you want to know. So, you know, I'm from Ann Arbor originally, but I've been in Ypsilanti Township for the past 26 years. I grew up in the Ann Arbor Brook called Stony Brook. First generation.
Brook.
Yep,
Right.
came from the Brook. First generation, you know, college. I'm going to be a lot of firsts if this works out, right? I'm going to be first generation college, first generation law school, first generation ever to run in any type of campaign in my family. And then I'll be the first African-American woman in 14B. I'll be the first African-American and the first woman. And so it's a whole lot of firsts that can happen with the situation. So I grew up here. I went to Michigan State for undergrad and U of M for law school. I've been practicing law for 27 years now. I'm a litigator. As many of you know, I've been an assistant public defender, and I did that work for 7 years. I worked for a judge for 7 years, and then I came out. I had my own private practice. In that practice, I was the what they call the conflict office, meaning that I represented everybody that the public defender's office had a conflict with. And I also had my own private work going at the same time, real estate business. You know, my goal has been to serve this community for many, many years. And I tried to do the best I could by everybody that came before me, being human. Maybe I didn't always get it right, but I did the best that I could. And so with that type of experience, I think I'm a great candidate for this position with the recidivism rate we got going on in Washtenaw County. And I'm sure everybody's heard about the crew report. I think I'm the person to make a difference in Ypsilanti Township and on the bench in general. So that's why I'm running.
That's right. All right. Now that court needs a lot of diversity in it. That court has been, as far as I knew, it had all white judges in that court.
Right.
As far as I knew. We need some diversity in the community. Somebody with some heart like you, some homegrown, actually experienced legal talent in our community being on the bench. And we gonna see what our viewers have to say and we have a few. We have one say hello. So hey,
Hello.
so for Facebook users say hello. I'm glad y'all chimed in. This is a new format. Y'all know, due to this COVID-19, we got to do this social distancing. But sometime it could benefit you. But we can't wait to get back on the right track. But also tell us more about what you've been doing in the community, because I have seen you out there a lot. I've seen you. You've been doing your thing. I've seen you all over. So tell us a little bit more about what you're doing with your volunteer work. And
Gotcha.
you know, talk to them about yourself some more.
Well, let's see how far back we're going to go with that. So I'll
All
start
right.
back. You know, initially, my first big board position, I would say, was with the American Red Cross. I did that for a while. And then I went on to be with the Girl Scouts of America. And then after that, you know, I was the Washtenaw County Bar Association president. So I did that work back in the community. I was with the Negro Business and Professional Women's Club. I was their president. And we do a lot of social service work in the community. We provide heart monitoring, heart testing issues to make sure everybody's healthy. So we have healthy programs. We do the American Heart Walk. We give scholarships to kids who are going off to college, raise money for that. And we try to do all types of educational programs in the community. Right now, I'm a part of the Habitat for Humanity. And so I'm on their board, and I do you know, everybody knows what Habitat for Humanity does, right?
Yeah.
We try to help people who don't have houses get into houses. They also have a lot of other programs going on to help with roof repair, to help with getting furnaces in homes, refrigeration replacement programs, just a host of things that Habitat's doing. They do a whole lot of work out in New West Willow and Apple Ridge right now, trying to make sure that we revitalize the communities that may be having trouble. And so I'm very, very excited about that part of what I'm doing. I'm also, you know, I've been a part of the Vanzetti Hamilton Bar Association. In case people don't know what that is, because a lot of people
educate them. Yeah.
The Vanzetti Hamilton Bar Association is our local African American bar. And basically what we're trying to do is push the African American agenda with respect to legal issues and concerns. And we make sure we try to get people on the bench who have diversity. We haven't had a whole lot of success with that, obviously, but we're still working it. Just like we're working on a whole lot of issues more globally in trying to make sure that Blacks and African Americans have representation in all the areas possible. So I am the past president of that particular organization, and I work with a whole group of people who have been trying to make that a reality here in Washtenaw County. I am the state bar commissioner. So I'll educate a little bit on what that means. The bar is attorneys. It's called the bar. And what happens is we're regulated by rules and regulations and court rules and the whole 9 yards. And so what they do is they put together a commission that sits in Lansing that basically oversees the state bar in the entire state of Michigan. It's over 44,000 attorneys. And so they have a select group of representatives who go up to make sure that those rules and policies and regulations are effective and working for the community, because we're not about working for ourselves. We're about making sure that the people in the state of Michigan get the proper representation. And so I was elected by Washtenaw County and Jackson County to sit on that particular commission to make sure that the state bar is doing what it's supposed to do by the people. And so that's another thing that I do. So, you know, if you start talking about other things that I've been doing in the community, you know, in the last 2 years, and since COVID hit, I go out and I help to make sure that people have food. So I help people with serving food on the food lines. The last time I was out, I was vacuuming some floors. So I was actually pretty proud of that because I had to vacuum a whole hall. So,
all right.
Hall, we broke down boxes. You see me outside standing by the garbage, helping to break down boxes, because the reality is no matter what role you have, that is just a role. And you are the heart of whatever it is you bring to that particular role to make sure that you're doing what's needed in the community. And so I don't think if you are a judge or if you're a justice of the Supreme Court, you should still be giving back to the community in every way possible. And no job is beneath anybody. We're all the same and we're all equal. You just have a title. So that's how I see it.
Well, Erane, that right there is a long resume of beautiful things you've done. And I know for a fact, because I've seen you myself, And I'm not trying to be biased, but I am biased. I'm gonna let you know up front. I already got you 100% endorsed myself. This is a bias interview, if you want to call it an interview. I've been knowing you for a long time. I'm not even gonna lie. I haven't heard of the things that the other judges have been doing in the community that's being for judges like you. You've been out there. You've been on the ground. You've been around. You've been battle tested, I should say. You've been battle tested, and you came through the fire. And I like your back, your ambiance in the back. It's like fireplace and everything. Got me fired up and ready to go for the fireside discussion. So we're gonna have more to come with this. I thought you knew, interviewing beautiful people like yourself that's bringing beautiful things in the community that have actually been here. You see, I got big old hands. See, I do things a lot in Washtenaw County, and I help.
And I thank you for that, because I know you've been doing a whole lot, especially recently. I think it's the Brown family that you've been trying to help, and I see all the work you're doing over that. It is amazing how far along that particular house has come and the help that you've given to them. I'm very, very proud of that. And I haven't been over to actually work there physically. I did, help out a little bit where I could. So, and I made some phone calls too to try to help, but it turned out the way it did. I wish it was better than it did, but I did try to utilize my connections to make as many differences as I could. And I had conversations with folks to try to make that come around too.
And I myself, I appreciate you sincerely from the heart for everything you've done and everything that anybody have done for the Brown family. And like I said, that's a story of another topic, but this is the platform that I wanted to give Miss Erane Washington so she could actually talk to viewers, because viewers are actually chiming in and they really love what's going on about you and the movement about you trying to get, well, you will be the next judge. I'm gonna try my hardest to plug this campaign of yours on this show, rerun this video podcast over and over again, because we have to get real judges on the bench, real judges that could actually see through the BS. And I mean, you grew up in the mess with us. You grew up in the pits, and a lot of people say the pits of hell. But Washtenaw County is a different type of hell. A lot of things is going on right now before the news. A lot of people can't comment on them, but me, Tyrone Bridges, I can speak on them. I'm not going to try to taint this platform for her, but I just want to know that all of our voters are registered to vote, and we need to get judges in like Miss Washington. We need to get judges in on the voting date is what? Tuesday, November 3rd. You see, we got to get y'all there. We got to get y'all there. Hook or crook. And I'm not talking about crook meaning doing nothing illegal. I'm talking about, look, if you don't have your absentee ballot, if you need a ride to the poll, we can work it out. But we need you to cast that doggone vote on Tuesday, November 3rd, because we got to get real people in the office. You see how this world is going. Y'all, we can't keep having this going on. We need good people, great people in office like Miss Washington. So I'm long-winded. Of course, everybody knows that I'm long-winded because my passion is there. I've been here. I'm 51 years old. I mean, I have a big platform of a walk of life. I've been through a lot. You've been through a lot. And people like us, we do make change.
Yeah.
It might be slow change, but it happens.
Right.
It's a great opportunity right now for the voters to take this election serious.
It's so funny to hear you call me Miss Washington, to be honest. And I'm just going to be real about this. After the election, assuming I win, I still want to be Erane. That's who I am. Okay. If I'm on the bench, that's one thing. We got to give the particulars because we're in that space. But when you see me in public, and I'm telling you, I plan to be accessible. I will be in the public. I'm not going somewhere to go sit in my ivory tower and come out and make decisions about people. That's not how this is supposed to work. And that's not how I want it to work. I've been in the community and I plan to stay in the community. And like you said, there's a lot going on, and we have to have conversations about it. I'm really happy that the conversations about the justice system here in Washtenaw County are actually starting to finally happen on a level that is real, not just, when I see my clients, they're complaining about the things that happened to them when they got arrested, not because I'm making that argument in the courtroom, but we're taking it outside of the courtroom and into the realities of the public to actually say, look, there's a problem with the way that justice is being administered in this particular county. We have 29 times more likely for a Black man to be charged with certain crimes. We're starting to actually have those real conversations and dealing with it. And I'm really excited about the point in time in which I'm coming into the ability to make a real difference, because we have a change in the way our justice system is going to look. We're going to have a new prosecutor on board who's going to actually try to make some difference in terms of the way that people are treated through that office. He is doing, I don't know if you know about this, Tyrone, but he's doing criminal justice reform listening tours, and people are coming out and actually giving him feedback and trying to hold his feet to the fire about the things that he promised during his campaign. And those particular changes will make a huge difference in the way that everybody is treated. And it's not to give anybody any particular preference, just to make sure we're all treated equally and fairly. And so I'm really excited about that opportunity for the community and for the possibility of me coming into it at the time when we have a new look at the way justice is supposed to work.
Right. We need that. We definitely need that. I just added a new ticker on the bottom. I was wondering, hopefully you can see it. Well, everybody, look, how did that happen? Y'all know what we got to do. We got to get to the polls. We got to quit playing and get to the polls. And we got to do our civic duty and get Erane into office. Look, she just told you she's going to be accessible. And she's working in the community diligently. And y'all know her. I've been knowing her for years. Most of the viewers been knowing her for years. We got a plenty of viewers that's been knowing you, and we know your heart. We know your passion. We know what you could do for the court, that seat. We know what you could do. So with all power invested in this show, y'all gotta get out and vote. Read the banner. Read the ticker. It's self-explanatory. We need a face on this doggone seat that's going to do the community great justice, fair justice, somebody who have a heart with great justice in mind. You guys, we have so much against us right now. COVID-19, coronavirus, whatever you want to call it. I've never known a pandemic that would attack a race of people so vicious, so vicious. It's crazy. We're living in this world right now that we got a lot that's going on, and we do need real people to serve. Real people. Is there anything that you would like to say to the younger folks out here that feels that my vote don't count? My vote don't count.
Yeah.
What do you have to say to them?
So I have my son is 30. Okay, and I don't know if you consider that younger or not, but he's younger than us by quite a few decades. So he's 30, and he posted, he loves Facebook, and he posted on Facebook that he wasn't going to vote. He wasn't going to vote for Biden. He doesn't live here. He lives in Las Vegas. So he said he wasn't going to vote for Biden because of the Democratic Party. And my thing was, and I can't really go into which party or right, because it's a nonpartisan position. I am not able to comment on whether it's Democratic or not Democratic, right, or Republican. I can't make any statements about that. But what I can say is, because of where we are right now in like you said, COVID environment, the health disparities that are going on, the educational disparities that are going on, the judicial system and the disparities that are happening there, we need to really get people who are going to be able to see it from our lived experience as Black Americans in America, and we have an opportunity to do that. And if you don't vote, then your vote is wasted. There are so many people who actually went out and marched at a time where people were killing us more than they are right now for the right to vote. So if you don't, I think you're doing a disservice and a dishonor to your ancestors and the people before you who fought so hard for us to have the right to vote. Um, you know, some people say I won't vote in the national elections, but I'll vote in the local elections. And I think all of the elections are important because the national elections cause the money that comes nationally to trickle down to the states, which then trickle down locally to where it actually affects you. It affects whether you have mental health services, which is one of the things that I'm actually pushing for as a part of my platform that we can have in 14B District Court. You know, it won't be immediate because things have to get under control with respect to the budget out there, but
Right.
it will happen once I'm able to get a grant to get us some additional funding so that we can treat some of the mental health issues that are going on in the courts. So if you don't have money trickling down, then it's not, you know, it's the fault of us for not voting in the first place for the right people to get them in that space to be able to provide those types of services for us. There are so many things I could say about voting. You know, it's important that you make informed decisions about who you're voting for as well. You know, we can tell people to go out there and just vote, but the truth of the matter is, if they're just voting without any information and just checking all the signs that they've seen, sometimes you're making bad decisions and putting the wrong people in place. So we gotta be informed in the choices that we're making, and judges are important. Your local township supervisors and treasurers and everybody else that's a part of your local township boards or city offices are extremely important. And so do the research, talk to people. If you don't want to do the research yourself, then call people that you think might have that information and collaborate. Make decisions outside of a vacuum, make decisions that are informed. So please vote. It's extremely important. Your life is actually probably depending on it the way COVID is going right now.
Right. And don't waste your vote. People say don't, I'm not going to vote. Hey, it's up to you. You do what you want to do. But to me, just like you said, it's a slap in the face to our ancestors. We have this path painted for us that we have a right to vote. And now we have it being stripped in front of our eyes. So we better utilize the vote before it be taken away from us. We have to. We can't sit there and say we won't vote when we should. We need to vote our presidential election all the way down the ballot, all the way down the ballot. Our local elections, our state elections, all of them matter. All of them matter. Our lives matter. Y'all lives matter. So we got to do what we supposed to do. You guys are here campaigning during this COVID-19, doing video chats and video debates and things like that. I mean, who have ever heard of that?
Right.
I mean, this is the world we're in.
It is. I can tell you when it first happened, I was just like, what am I going to do now? I mean, there was that shell shock of, you know, first of all, I stopped campaigning for a while. Not that I dropped out the race. I just stopped because so many people that I knew, like within the first week, I had 5 people that were in my family. I mean, they weren't like really close, but they were still my family members that passed away within the first week. So when people were saying it was a hoax and it wasn't real, I'm like, y'all are tripping because
Right.
I know I've lost 5 people already. And from there, it just kept spiraling. I lost so many people that I knew, and then people who I am, thank God, were able to recover from it, who, you know, were in the hospital on ventilators and just all kinds of things. And so I didn't campaign right away because I was too busy dealing with my own grief about everything that was happening. And then eventually, though, just like you said, I got to the point where I was actually on doing a program very similar to this, interviewing people. I started out with the mental health concerns because we all were grieving so much. I wanted to make sure people had an avenue for how to deal with that and at least be able to make phone calls so people could talk to someone who could help them through this in case they were having, you know, extreme issues with grieving or mental health concerns. And then I moved on to some substance use disorder type programming for people so that they would be able to get So what happened when COVID happened is a lot of those types of programs stopped existing, at least, physically in person. And so we had to figure out how to maneuver people over to them, in the virtual platform. So everything has gone for the most part virtually. And, wearing masks everywhere you go.
Everywhere you go, we gotta have these things on. These things are some. But what I don't get, and this is off topic, but you see people wearing the mask, and it's all open.
Oh,
What
right.
are they doing? What
Well,
are they doing? Are they doing this a chin cover? This nose is what they're trying to cover, but proper way to wear a mask, y'all, not under your nose. But wow, this is ridiculous.
right. Right.
One more thing for these young folk, these young lawless folks. I'm not going to say black, white. I'm going to say young Gen X out here running wild, committing crimes, doing all these shootings.
Yeah.
Can you speak to them directly? So they need to hear from somebody that came from this community that's
Right.
trying to actually do something for this community and actually serve as a judge. You might see some of them knuckleheads that come through your court. So could you talk to them directly, please?
Well, I sometimes wonder whether they are connecting with me, whether they're connecting with us, whether they're even connecting with themselves, because the reality is that I think people are just they're tired. They're tired of the way things have been going, and they don't have a whole lot to hold on to. So when I talk to them, I'm speaking to them in terms of the fact that your life really matters, because you have to appreciate your own life before you can appreciate someone else's life. And if you begin to appreciate your own life, then what happens is you try to figure out things that ground you amongst the rest of us. And right now, I think we're all kind of failing them in terms of how to get them grounded and not be caught up in this particular moment in time, because there's a whole lot of immediate self gratification going on. Like,
Right.
if you feel anger, then you act on that anger right at the moment. And what that does is it limits your options. When you get into trouble, it limits your options in terms of where you can go in the world. So my first piece of advice is to stop and think about why your life is important. And then secondly, decide not to do things that limit your options in life. If you shoot somebody or you do some knucklehead stuff, it's going to cause you to be in trouble with the law, which is then going to limit your options, at least until you're done with that particular part of the process, and maybe forever. So don't. We are all human beings. We should all care about one another. Black, white, Asian, it doesn't matter. We have to treat everybody with decency and respect. Now, you can say talk to them, but I don't know whether I can get to them at this way. I grew up through that path, as you said.
Right.
Our
That's fair.
issues coming up, right? We did.
Mhm.
I'm not going to pretend like our lives were, not filled with some mess. But we didn't try to kill people. We didn't try to take people out of here because of whatever reason. And the people that did, they got removed from us and put in prison. That's the way
Right.
that worked. Or they were killed. And so many people that I know are gone now because of that. But you don't have to take that path. You can choose a different path. And I want to create the resources that allow them to see those paths, in a better light. And to, I think when we talk about the shootings that are going on right now, unfortunately, it's sort of a part of a whole culture of folks that are fighting back and forth from one incident that happened a long time ago. And so until we can try to reach them through, and I was out in New West Willow, and I want to say this was over a year ago now, trying to put in place some folks who could actually talk to them, and they were calling themselves various little gangs or factions or whatever you want to call them, to try to create some peace. Now, it didn't turn out that the person who was supposed to follow through with that did what they were supposed to do, so it didn't happen. But I still want to be able to communicate with folks, that are able to go out and talk to the leaders of these organizations so that we can, and I use the word organization very loosely, so that we can try to get them to actually see that this needs to stop and to figure out, what is it that they need to have it stop. Because if you need, Joe Smo dead, we got a problem with that. But what shy of that can we do? And that's where I think, another part of what I'm trying to bring is what's called restorative justice, right? Because the way our system is set up right now, you bring people into the system, someone committed a crime, it doesn't matter. It can range from, driving while license suspended to murder. It's still pretty much a cookie cutter outcome based on whether they have actually committed crimes in the past and the nature of this charge, right? And we send them away, or we give them fines and costs, or whatever that is. Restorative justice says, what can we do to make the whole community whole? How does this person make recompense for what they did to the next person and to the community? And we can sit down and see how they show take another life for that to be the thing that's okay. And I don't think that's it. I think we're not having conversations to deal with the trauma that comes out of that, so that we can do something different. We don't have to be a culture of a life for a life, and we can't do that without having real conversations with the people who are hurting. And the people who are hurting are the people that are out still shooting other people. So we got to figure that piece out.
That trauma is a major thing that you speak about. That the whole community is in trauma after a shooting. Not
Right.
only the shooter, they're in fear of the repercussions of what's going to happen for the shooting, and also the community where people have to jump on the floor with their babies and hide from bullets and stuff like that. That type of stuff right there is a no-no. And nobody, myself, yourself, nobody in the community is going to tolerate that. We have no sympathy for you if you want to go out there and shoot up somebody's house or shoot up somebody because you don't have no wherewithal in your soul to come up with an alternative plan to calm the beef down.
Right.
See, we used to use these, but it's a lot of cowards out there now. What they do, they run to the iron. They run and want to shoot.
Right.
I don't understand.
Right. And that's the thing. You can talk to them. I'm trying to figure out how to understand to get to them. And I think it really does come down to the value of life. We gotta somehow figure out how to get them to value their lives, and therefore they value other folks' lives.
It's the village initiative. That's exactly what it's going to take. Everybody's going to have to come together. For those who don't believe in reform with them, they're going to have to come to the table too, because we're going to need all eyes together to try to figure out this problem.
Right.
These kids ain't been just shooting randomly like this for nothing. They've been doing it for years, and enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
No, it's not random. I mean, we got to quit playing with ourselves, and the public got to take it serious enough to actually be concerned to do something. And
I think the public is concerned. I think the reality is that we got to figure out how to reach them, because we can go ahead and lock up the shooter from last week, right? But the shooter's friend is still out there, and he's still mad that his friend got killed 6 months ago. So we haven't really ceased the problem. We just locked up one piece of the problem. So, we got to figure out how to get to the person we locked up and say, hey, how do we get to you so that we can figure out who else is out there with these issues, and try to get them to see that keeping down this path is only going to lead to more death and destruction,
And that's going to take some homegrown community intervention. I don't believe law enforcement is going to be able to get behind it, because if they had a hand on it, we'd have a lot of the shooting solved. Right. And that 6-year-old baby that got shot,
right?
That right there. I mean, I sleep with that constantly. Right. Like, if you know who the shooter is, and you won't say anything, and I think what a lot of the people in that community have the message mixed up. Snitching, the snitch culture. Everybody say snitch, 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 snitch. If you haven't been through it, you don't know nothing about snitching, period. If you haven't been through it, if your child gets shot, if your niece gets shot, your nephew gets shot, your mama gets shot, your daddy gets shot, if you're a family member and you know who the shooter is, that's not snitching.
Right. Right.
That's called taking them off the street before you be mad enough to do something to them. So come on now. That
Right.
shooter that shot that 6-year-old, the shooters that shot that 6-year-old haven't been brought to justice, just like the other 14 shootings, and minus the 2 young ones that they caught running away from the scene after the 3 shootings. It just doesn't make any sense. We have to come together as a community. Once again, we got to get elected officials in office that's going to do something and not just talk about it, because a lot of our elected officials right now, they MIA. They MIA, and I think this COVID-19 is giving them proper cover. They can run now. Oh, we can't get sick. Wait a minute. You was elected official. You can do your duty over the phone. There's cell phones in this world. It used to be landlines we used to pick up and make a call. You know, I still got a landline. Right. We can do a lot more. But with people with hearts like yours that's in office, that have been here, done that, I mean, you was raised in the streets, in the Washtenaw County streets.
I think it's the trust factor, you know.
The trust factor is number one.
Mm-hmm. And the community needs to be able to trust that the elected officials are going to do what they said they're going to do. And they need to be able to trust that when they come through the justice system, that when they do, and I agree with you, it's not snitching, when they do help to make sure that people who have done wrong are brought to justice, that justice is going to happen. And that the person that is charged is either going to, if they deserve prison time, they're going to get that. Or if they don't deserve prison time, they won't get that. So, you know, they got to be able to trust that those outcomes are what they think they should be. And right now, I think they don't. I think they are afraid that if they snitch, people will go to prison for life or whatever the maximum is on charges and not really get what they need out of the system. And so I think that's a part of it. And I think, you know, we have 22 judicial offices. And that includes judges, magistrates, and referees, 22 of them. And there is only one person of color in either of those seats. So
that's a problem.
It is a problem. And so I think people don't trust the system based on the appearances, less more than the results that we know that have come out of it based on the crew report. So you've got to be able to get people that are in those positions of power that people can trust to do the right thing. And so, and it's also a problem in that if I do try to help with whoever, the sheriff, the prosecutor, whoever, that I'm going to be somehow protected against those that may retaliate against me. So there's a whole lot of issues that we got to try to work out to make sure that people trust the system in a myriad of ways.
And that should be a community. That should be a community protection factor. The whole community should rally around anybody who brings a shooter forward. The whole community. It should not be just the sheriff department or the judges issuing orders. It should be the whole community. The whole community should stick together and protect people. Right. That's going to come and bring information forward. We don't need no more deaths in our communities due to gun violence. Right. I mean, COVID-19 taking out enough of us.
Amen to that. Yes, it is. Yes,
I don't understand. So you're going to help COVID-19? I don't get it.
Right. But, you know, I think we're starting to have those conversations more than we did before. And I think that although this platform is not, you know, you can't hug. I can't give you a hug if I wanted to. But I think it at least allows us to go into rooms and in spaces that we weren't able to go into before, as long as we're not dealing with that, you know, technology divide that we have going on. And we got to fix that piece too. But for those that can connect online, I think you know, babysitting is not much of an issue as it used to be because your kids are home with you all day. So you can get online at any point in time. So it allows people to get engaged and have more conversations, which is the other piece about that. People have to become more community engaged in everything that's going on. You know, don't just use Facebook to talk mess about your next door neighbor, or, you know, don't just use Facebook to post the beautiful things that are going on in your life. Use Facebook also to find out the events that are going on in your community so that you can actually become more community engaged. When you become more community engaged, then I think you become more invested in your community, and that stuff that you're talking about right now comes together, because then you want to protect your neighbor down the street because you care about the whole community. So So we got to do the community engagement piece and get more folks involved in that. And there are lots of programs going on that are trying to help people with that. But I think that's great, but it's also a part of the problem because everybody's so branched out trying to do their own thing. We got to come together and try to make it work as a whole. We're better together, better together. That's what I keep preaching to everybody. Let's just try to work together to make it happen, as opposed to you going off doing your little piece and someone else doing their little piece. If we're not talking, we can't actually figure out where the problems really lie and where the gaps are. So
well, I will commit to you 100% that once when you are a judge, once when we put you in office, that I'm available at any time to help these youth. I've been here. I'm not going nowhere. God has me here for a purpose, I believe. And pandemic or I would say 45 damic. I mean, it don't matter. I'm still here. We are determined to make our community a better place to live. We are determined to bring people together of like mind. We might not see the same political sides, but we have at least the ability to be able to work together and say we can. When my mom was here, she did a lot of stuff in the community. She brought enemies together. We played on the same doggone softball team.
Yeah,
it happened. But we had a strong Black woman right there that's gonna put her foot in everybody's butt. And she was talking about kicking kids' butt. They wouldn't even, and they was like, I believe you, because she's serious. And yeah, so we all came together no matter what. She said, y'all not gonna be fighting in my backyard doing tip out. You know, we used to have a game called tip out after school and stuff. But she said, I'm gonna put y'all together and play get a softball team together. And she was the mama for everybody.
Right.
You know, so I do believe that the image of a Black woman in office, a Black judge in office, you are not only setting the precedence for other minorities, you are actually empowering them to think that they can do what you are doing. And hats off for you for that. And honestly, my mom, she brought me the Van Zetti Hamilton program, project, all that. Hugo Mack, all of them. She taught me. She brought me all through the courtroom when she kicked prosecutors' butts over my brother. And yeah, I was a baby up in them courtrooms, and I saw my mama raw, and she wasn't having it. So she was more like you. Hey, you gonna work with me? Work with my bad son. You're not gonna throw him away. Right. So that's what happened. So people like you who've been there and know. I mean, I know Johnny. Wait a minute. That's all he did. He could work out a program with him. He could probably do some things that prevent him from going to prison. I mean, a simple what he stole something. I mean, instead of saying lock him up, he need to be locked up for 2 years to teach you something. All he gonna do, go to prison and be taught by other criminals how to do worse things and come out and be another criminal, or possibly change his life around, do a 180. I don't know. Right. But it's been a lot of recidivism issues with a lot of the young minorities, because they don't have the path. They don't have that path. They don't have the role models, I should say. I don't consider myself a role model because I've been there, done that. I consider myself an advocate. I'm gonna always be an advocate. Right. I'm gonna show a lot of the youth. Yeah. A lot of people say that, but I'll humbly accept just for the show. But I try to be, and I want more young men, young Black men, to show that they can do more than just commit violence. Mm-hmm. It's not enough of us out there. Right. My stepfather taught me carpentry when I was 12. I was young. I know it now like the back of my hand. Went through school, everything. COVID-19 prevented me from going to get my license. So it's a lot of things that you could do than violence. Right. And we are all look at us. I mean, I'm just a person who started a podcast, who wanted people to hear my music. Right. And then it turned to this interviewing with judges and prosecutors and different people. And it became fun. Yes. Because a lot of people think, oh, he's just going to cuss us out. And then after the interview, oh, such a nice interview.
Well, I've been knowing you forever. So.
Yeah, I told you I won't bite. Y'all know I don't bite. I got teeth, but I don't bite. I cook, but I don't bite. I just, I like to kick it with people who are real, and I mean, you have never been a fake person, so we have to do our job, y'all. Let me put the ticker up again. We have to do our job.
So I do want to comment on a couple of things you said, though.
Okay.
I just want to say this. I'm in this space because of the people who poured into me over the years, and you talk about role models, and I'm not the first Black woman to run for office. I'm hopefully to be the first to be elected, but I'm not the first to run. And we've had some appointed judges who've shown me the way. For instance, Judge Nancy Wheeler, she ran, she didn't win, but she got appointed afterwards.
Right.
Judge Betty Widgeon.
Yes.
And so there have been Black women who've worn that robe before, and whose footsteps I'm following in, and who support me and endorse me in this particular campaign. There have been some Black men, Simpsons, who sit on the bench right now, Judge Wilder, who sat on the bench in circuit court and went on to become a Supreme Court justice. And they're supporting me in this and endorsing my campaign through this as well. And it's not just people of color who poured into me. I've had white people who poured into me too. Judge Shelton gave me, despite what you believe in him, his harshness, whatever, he gave me that first opportunity. And without that opportunity, I wouldn't be sitting here. So we all have paths that we have to go through to get to the space, that we're in. And like you were saying earlier, being a role model is really important. Always remember that you may be somebody's role model. So however you're behaving at that particular moment in time, your mentee may be looking at you and going, oh, is that what we're supposed to do? Or they're looking at you going, wow, that's disappointing. So I try to live in that space, like, as much as I humanly possibly can. And, as a human, we all fail from time to time, but that's where I try to live. And I don't know how to be anything other than just real, like when I saw you, and I hadn't seen you in a couple of years, and I was like, hey, what happened to our Facebook friend request? I'm just real. I just keep it real.
Right.
But I'm not abrasive. My personality, fortunately, I don't think is abrasive. And I can connect with people. And I think that's the most important part about this opportunity, is that I can connect with everybody and hopefully be able to make that difference for people as they come through the justice system. So anyway,
I know you're going to make that difference. And the people that groomed you, just like the people that groomed me as well, that was that purification stage that you went through. Just like I said before, my life is like the resemblance of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the fire, the purification, the fire. I know the fire that you've been through, the support that you got, the people who may haven't won their positions, but they still got appointed. Those are the purification processes that we have to appreciate. And I'm glad you stopped me and brought that up, because a lot of times we forget to mention where we came from and actually who gave me that step up, or that push, or that boost, that motivation. And that's great that you even said that, because a lot of people that are white have helped me tremendously through my whole walks of life. I'm talking about when I was a kid, all the way up until now.
Right.
And I love them.
Right.
So when I say white or black, it's nothing of a disdain or nothing like that. It's a, and I could change that. And I could say my brother or my sister.
Right.
And so I could start today and say my brother or my sister, because no matter what, we came from the same womb, the same heaven, the same God.
Same God.
So bottom line, my brothers and my sisters, we all are one. We all are one. And we do need our sister, Judge Erane, in office. We must get her in office. Vote like your life depends on it, okay? Look, please, you have to get our sister in office. I'm begging you, play this Facebook, this live, this YouTube over and over again. You young folks in Washtenaw County, it's not hard to vote. It's not hard to vote. Better yet, voting is quicker than drinking a whole entire 22-ounce of beer. Voting is quicker than smoking a whole blunt. You can smoke a blunt start to finish and you've been voted. Look, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. We need people who've said that they're not going to vote. They're not going to vote. Look, if you don't vote, you're hurting your ancestors and you're hurting your forefathers. And you're hurting people like Erane, who is trying to get in to make a difference. We need her. We need your vote. Y'all, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And I want to give her a last chance to give us a campaign plug. And I'll give the show a plug at the end. So go ahead and give a campaign plug for you, Miss Erane.
Thank you. I want to first of all just thank you for having me. I think this show is really, really, it was fun. I had a great time, and like you said, it's come a long way, and I'm hoping you keep up the work that you're doing. I am running for 14B District Court Judge. I have the experience to really make a difference. I think one of the areas that I want to plug myself on is all my litigation experience, especially in the criminal defense arena. I have the wisdom and the knowledge to make a difference when it comes to preliminary examinations, and that experience is unmatched. I'm hoping that you will vote for me on November 3rd. I have a website, which is Erane, E-R-A-N-E, for judge.com. Go there. If you want to reach out to me on the phone, please call me 734-757-8683. And I'm hoping to see you at the polls. If you want to work for me, let me know. I'm here for you.
Hey, you heard it live, y'all, and I thought you knew. Miss Erane Washington, candidate for 2020 Washtenaw County Judge, District Judge. Y'all, we need her in office, and I want to give a plug while she's here on the show to our Thought You Knew. If you'd like to be a part of helping the Thought You Knew platform get bigger and better, look at the ticker on the bottom, make a Cash App contribution to our Thought You Knew at cash $QMI, $QMI. Look at the information on the bottom of the screen. If you'd like to write a check to I Thought You Knew, write a check to I Thought You Knew at P.O. Box 980731. That's 980731, Ypsilanti, Michigan 48198. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Erane. Thank you for your time. We love you. And once again, y'all check out the ticker. Vote. Vote. We are not playing. We got to get this sister in office. This is Tyrone Bridges with I Thought You Knew. Thank you. God bless you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.